The digital age, a time of connection, a time of opportunity. The internet opened doors to new possibilities, bringing people together from all corners of the world. It was a revolution in communication, commerce and community, but also a time of vulnerability. The same technology that connected us also exposed us to unseen dangers lurking in the shadows. In this new frontier, a predator lurked. Hidden behind the anonymity of a screen, he prowled the digital landscape, searching for his next victim. He was handsome, charming, seemingly ordinary. To the outside world, he was just another face in the crowd, blending in effortlessly. No one suspected the darkness that festered within Philip Markoff. His outward appearance was a perfect disguise, masking the sinister intentions that lay beneath. But behind the facade of a medical student beat the heart of a killer, the Craigslist Killer. By day, he was a diligent student, but by night he transformed into a predator. His hunting ground, the anonymous world of online classifieds, a place where identities could be hidden and intentions masked. His prey, vulnerable women seeking companionship for a price. They were lured by his charm, unaware of the danger that awaited them. Markoff's reign of terror began subtly. His initial attacks were calculated, leaving little trace and causing minimal suspicion. Whispers of assaults and robberies in luxury hotels. The incidents were scattered, seemingly unconnected, but they shared a chilling similarity. The victims, all women, had one thing in common. They advertised on Craigslist. This common thread began to weave a pattern that was hard to ignore. These early incidents hinted at a pattern, a growing darkness that would soon explode into something far more sinister. The authorities were baffled. They struggled to piece together the clues. They had a predator on their hands, elusive and dangerous. The hunt was on. The race to stop him before he struck again had begun. December 2008. The city of Boston was about to face a chilling nightmare that would haunt its streets for months to come. The first whispers of fear began to circulate, rumors of a predator lurking in the shadows. A woman, bound and robbed in a Boston hotel room, became the first known victim. Her ordeal was terrifying. She had escaped with her life, but the scars of that night would remain forever etched in her memory. But her story was just the beginning. The city was on edge, and the darkness seemed to grow thicker with each passing night. Over the next 4 months, a wave of terror washed over the city. More women came forward with similar stories, similar attacks. The pattern was unmistakable. The assailant always used Craigslist to contact his victims. He hid behind the anonymity of the internet, making it difficult to trace him. He would pose as a client, arrange a meeting, then strike with calculated precision. The attacks escalated. Violence grew more brutal. Fear tightened its grip on the city. People looked over their shoulders, afraid of the unseen menace. The police were under immense pressure. They released sketches, they issued warnings, but the killer remained a step ahead. The Craigslist Killer remained elusive, slipping through the cracks like a ghost. He moved like a phantom, disappearing into the digital ether after each attack. The body count rose, first one, then another. The city was gripped by a palpable sense of dread. The city held its breath, waiting for the killer to strike again. Each night brought new fears, and the hope for safety seemed to fade with the setting sun. Markoff was meticulous. He chose his victims carefully, targeting women who advertised escort services on Craigslist. He used fake names, disposable email addresses, and prepaid phones. He was a ghost, leaving no trace. His messages were charming, disarming. He would lure his victims into a false sense of security. He would often pose as a professional, someone trustworthy. Once inside the hotel room, the mask would slip. The charming facade would crumble, revealing the monster beneath. He would overpower his victims, binding them with zip ties or duct tape. He would rob them of their cash, their jewelry, their sense of safety, and sometimes he would take their lives. Each crime was cold, calculated, and brutally efficient. He left behind a trail of terror and despair. Julissa Brisman was a vibrant young woman, full of life and energy. She had a bright future ahead of her, filled with dreams and aspirations. A dedicated massage therapist, she used Craigslist to supplement her income. She had dreams of building a successful career and aspirations of making a better life for herself. She never thought a simple advertisement on Craigslist would lead to her untimely demise. The platform she trusted to help her achieve her goals became the very thing that led her to danger. But for Julissa, it was a death sentence. The fear and distress she must have felt in those final moments are unimaginable. Markoff contacted her through Craigslist, posing as a client in need of her services. His intentions, however, were far from genuine. He lured her to a Boston hotel room under the guise of a business transaction. The setting, which should have been a place of work, turned into a scene of horror. And there, in that room, he ended her life. The dreams and aspirations she once held were cruelly snatched away. Megan Waterman was just 22 years old, a young mother with her whole life ahead of her, a young mother she was struggling to make ends meet. The weight of financial burdens and the responsibility of caring for her child weighed heavily on her. She turned to Craigslist, hoping to find a way to provide for her daughter. The platform seemed like a beacon of hope in her time of need. She too became ensnared in Markoff's web of deceit. The messages she received seemed promising, but they were laced with danger. He contacted her, pretending to be interested in her services. His words were convincing, masking his true intentions. He promised her money, a way out of her struggles. The hope she felt was tragically misplaced. Instead, he took everything from her: her dreams, her future, and the chance to watch her daughter grow up. Her life, her future, her daughter's mother. The loss is immeasurable, and the pain left behind is a stark reminder of the dangers that lurk in the shadows. The investigation intensified. The police released surveillance footage of the suspect, a grainy image but enough to offer a glimmer of hope. Tips poured in, the pressure mounted on Markoff. He knew his time was running out. The net was closing in. On April 20th, 2009, the impossible happened. The Phantom was caught. Philip Markoff was arrested. The arrest sent shockwaves through the city. The man in custody was not who they expected. He wasn't a hardened criminal. He was a clean-cut medical student, engaged to be married, living a double life, hiding his dark side from the world. In custody, Markoff confessed. He detailed his crimes, he admitted his guilt, he showed no remorse. Section 6, a life cut short. Suicide in a cold cell. Markoff's arrest brought little solace. The families of his victims were left to pick up the pieces. Their grief was immeasurable, their loss unbearable. The man responsible for their pain would never face justice. He had cheated them of their day in court. On August 15, 2010, Philip Markoff took his own life. He was found dead in his cell. A suicide note scrawled on his body. The contents of the note were never released. His death brought an abrupt end to the case. It left a void, a chilling silence. There would be no trial, no chance for the families to confront the man who had stolen their loved ones. Only unanswered questions remained. Section 7. The enigma of Philip Markoff. Unanswered questions. Why? That's the question that haunts everyone. Why would a seemingly normal young man on the cusp of a promising future commit such heinous acts? Was it a thirst for power, a desire to control? Or was there something more sinister lurking beneath the surface? Some believe Markoff was a thrill seeker, addicted to the danger and excitement of his crimes. Others speculate he was driven by a deep-seated rage, a hatred towards women. Whatever the reason, the answer died with him in that cold, sterile cell. His motives remain a mystery, a chilling enigma. The world may never know what drove Philip Markoff to kill. Section 8. The shadow of the Craigslist Killer. The Craigslist Killer case sent shockwaves through the online world. It exposed the dark underbelly of the internet, a place where predators could lurk in the shadows, preying on the vulnerable. It highlighted the need for caution, for vigilance, for awareness. The case also sparked a debate about online safety. Some called for greater regulation of online classifieds. Others argued for personal responsibility, urging users to be more cautious about who they interacted with online. The Craigslist Killer case served as a stark reminder that the virtual world is not immune to the dangers of the real world. Section 9. A reminder in the digital age. The legacy of the Craigslist Killer is a chilling one. He is a reminder that evil can lurk in the most unexpected places, that even in the digital age where anonymity reigns supreme, darkness can find a way to seep through. But it is also a story of resilience, a story of a community that came together in the face of fear. A story of law enforcement officials who worked tirelessly to bring a killer to justice. And it is a story of hope. Hope that by learning from the mistakes of the past, we can create a safer future. A future where the shadows of the digital world no longer hold the power to terrify.